The camera cuts to black. For a few chilling seconds, there's only the sound of rushed breathing, the faint thump of a heartbeat echo, and then, boom, a bright flash. The View's studio lights snap on. The audience is silent, unusually silent. And sitting in the center of the famed talk show table, shoulders stiff, face pale, is Whoopi Goldberg. The usual smirk? Gone. The bravado? Replaced by something raw, something haunted. Her mascara has begun to smear. She blinks furiously, trying to hold herself together. Across from her, standing, not seated like the rest, not laughing like they usually do, Karoline Leavitt, 27, unshaken, eyes locked like a sniper, dressed not in flashy rebellion but in disciplined poise, navy blazer, tightly clasped folder, mic in hand. You want to talk about truth, Karoline says, her voice piercing the silence like a scalpel. Let's talk about yours, Whoopi. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. The clip that would soon explode across every platform wasn't supposed to happen. Karoline Leavitt was scheduled for a 6-minute guest appearance on The View. Promotional graphics promised a spirited political debate. But nothing prepared viewers for what was about to unfold. Whoopi shifted uncomfortably. Joy Behar reached across with a hand almost in instinct, but Whoopi waved it off. This isn't what we agreed to," Whoopi murmured, her voice cracking. Karoline didn't blink. "No, it's not," she said, "because you've spent years agreeing to the lie." Cut to 48 hours earlier. Inside Fox News headquarters, Karoline had just gotten off a prep call. Her team was skeptical about doing The View. "It's a setup," her chief aide warned. "They'll smear you, shout over you, spin it like always." Karoline smiled, flipping open her leather folio. "Good," she said, "let them try." Fast forward to live broadcast. Whoopi Goldberg adjusted her chair as the crowd's cheers simmered. "Today," she said, "we're joined by Karoline Leavitt, Trump's youngest ever press secretary, who, depending on who you ask, is either the future of the conservative movement or just another Gen Z firebrand." Karoline nodded politely. "Happy to be here." Whoopi raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" "Absolutely," Karoline said, "because I think the American people deserve a conversation rooted in facts, not feelings." Joy snorted. Sunny Hostin rolled her eyes. The crowd gave a half-laugh, half-grunt. That's when Karoline leaned in. "You want feelings? Let's talk about betrayal." Whoopi blinked. "Excuse me." Carolina held up the folder. "You sat on this show for years pretending to be the moral compass of daytime TV, but in 2004, you weren't on ABC. You were at a private fundraiser for a Democratic candidate. Closed door, no press, no oversight." A murmur swept the audience. Karoline opened the folder. "In that room, Whoopi, you made a speech, and we've finally obtained the transcript." Whoopi's lips parted, but no words came. "You said, and I quote, 'Americans aren't ready for the truth. They need their illusions.' You mocked religious voters, called working-class conservatives a scared little flock clinging to guns and fairy tales. And then you laughed." A cold silence, then a ripple of gasps. Joy tried to interject. "You can't just bring—" Karoline raised a hand. "I'm not done." She clicked a remote. A screen behind the panel lit up. A grainy video, time-stamped, verified. Whoopi, at the podium. "First, they'll vote for anyone in a flag pin if you just scare them enough." The studio imploded. Shouts, whispers, audible tension you could slice. And Whoopi, she crumbled. She buried her face in her hands. "I didn't mean—" Karoline's voice didn't rise, it didn't need to. "You meant every word, and now millions are hearing it for the first time. This wasn't just confrontation, this was revelation. And that's just the beginning." The moment froze in studio air, thick with tension and disbelief. Whoopi Goldberg sat stiffly in her chair on The View, her hand visibly trembling as she reached for the mug that had suddenly become too far away. Her trademark sunglasses were gone. Her face was bare. Her voice, usually thunderous and commanding, barely registered above a whisper as she muttered, That's not how it happened." But it was too late. Karoline Leavitt, standing tall at center stage, wasn't just presenting facts. She was unraveling a narrative, a quiet televised dismantling of Whoopi's moral high ground. And it wasn't scripted. It wasn't rehearsed. It was raw and broadcast to millions. "Do you want to deny it, Whoopi?" Karoline asked calmly, her tone not angry but surgical. "We have the clip, we have the receipts." The studio audience gasped again. On screen, a grainy video played behind them. Whoopi 10 years ago in a closed-door panel interview. She was younger, looser, unfiltered, and in this moment she laughed, uncomfortably, while making a flippant remark about something that would now be unforgivable in today's cultural climate. It was about a scandal, one involving a prominent Hollywood friend, one she had publicly defended, even praised. "People deserve a second chance," she had said then. "We all make mistakes." That was her quote, now in 4K, now juxtaposed with her recent condemnations of conservatives over far less. Back in the present, Karoline didn't gloat. She simply let the image hang. "This isn't about cancel culture," she said. "This is about truth. You want accountability for others, but where was yours?" Whoopi's eyes narrowed, her jaw clenched. But she couldn't respond. Not without digging deeper. Not without looking hypocritical. Sunny Hostin shifted awkwardly beside her, glancing toward the producers off stage. Joy Behar mouthed something to a staffer, likely asking if they were going to cut to commercial. But they couldn't. The broadcast was live. No delay. No safety net. And Karoline knew it. The silence on set wasn't just awkward. It was damning. Whoopi's eyes glistened. Not from tears yet, but from the sting of being cornered in the very arena she once controlled. Her hand hovered in the air like she wanted to swat the words away, like the truth could be erased if she just reached far enough. But Karoline wasn't done. She stepped forward, her tone softer now but more lethal. "I grew up watching you, Whoopi. You stood for something. You called out injustice. You fought for women, for black voices, for the voiceless. You were the fire." Beat. But somewhere along the way, that fire started burning people who didn't think exactly like you. The audience stirred. Even the liberal side of the room wasn't sure how to react, because deep down they knew. Karoline wasn't making things up. She wasn't spinning conspiracy. She was reading receipts. "You defended Roman Polanski," Karoline said quietly. "You said, and I quote, 'It wasn't rape.'" Gasps. Audible. Unfiltered. "And when Mel Gibson's tapes leaked, you said he was a friend. You said he was trying to heal." Whoopi finally broke. "I was trying to show compassion," she snapped. Her voice cracked. "People change. People deserve a chance to come back." Karoline didn't raise her voice. She didn't blink. She leaned into the silence and let her words land like slow, measured punches. "So when a conservative says the same thing about someone on their side, about Trump or Kavanaugh or Rittenhouse, you call them bigots. You call them monsters. You call them dangerous." A pause. "But when it's someone you know, someone in your world, suddenly you remember mercy." The camera cut to Whoopi, eyes wide, blinking fast, mouth slightly open. Her face had shifted from defiance to something else entirely. Recognition. The creeping realization that this moment, this reckoning, wasn't a smear. It was a mirror. And the country was watching her look into it. Backstage, producers scrambled. Someone whispered into an earpiece. "Cut now," another voice asked. But a decision was made. Let it run. The rating spike was off the charts. This wasn't just a segment. It was an event. Meanwhile, on X, formerly Twitter, the hashtags were already climbing. Whoopi exposed. Karolina claps back. Live TV meltdown. It wasn't rape. The View unraveled. Clips were circulating within seconds. Influencer accounts were splicing together Whoopi's old interviews, placing them side by side with Karoline's takedown. Meme accounts added popcorn emojis. Reaction videos surged across TikTok. "Y'all, Whoopi's done!" one creator screamed into their phone, racking up 500,000 views before the segment even ended. "And Karoline?" She took one final step forward. "This isn't about left or right," she said, her voice calm but final. "It's about consistency. If you demand accountability from others, you must live by it yourself. Otherwise, you're not an advocate. You're a gatekeeper." Whoopi sat back, her shoulders sagging. Her voice, barely audible, whispered, "You don't know what I've been through." Karoline nodded. "Maybe I don't, but I do know this. Pain doesn't excuse hypocrisy. And if we want real healing in this country, it has to start with honesty, even when it hurts. That was it. No fireworks, no insults, just truth. And somehow, that landed harder than anything shouted. As the show went to commercial, Whoopi didn't move. She stared straight ahead, glassy-eyed, hands folded tightly in her lap. Karoline turned and walked off stage. The clip would be viewed over 22 million times within 48 hours. By the time the episode of The View officially wrapped, the storm had already broken loose outside the studio walls. Media vans circled the ABC headquarters like sharks. News anchors were being called in off hours. Producers at MSNBC and CNN were already assembling emergency panels. TMZ had sent 5 photographers to intercept Karoline leaving the building. Paparazzi, not normally dispatched for political figures, scrambled to snap the next viral image. But inside the green room, Karoline Leavitt wasn't celebrating. She wasn't smug, she wasn't even smiling. She was focused. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Campaign managers, White House staffers, conservative influencers, Fox producers. Her notifications looked like a digital fireworks show. The first mainstream outlet to go live was Fox News. Tucker Carlson, now broadcasting independently via X, opened his stream with a single still. Whoopi Goldberg mid-reaction, eyes wide, lips trembling. Captioned beneath in blood-red font, "Busted live." "I've watched The View for 20 years, Tucker said to his millions of followers, "and I have never seen anything like this." Karoline Leavitt walked into the lion's den, and she didn't just survive, she turned the lion into a kitten. This was cultural exorcism. She didn't yell, she didn't attack, she reflected. And the reflection shattered Whoopi Goldberg. Elsewhere on X, the reactions multiplied like wildfire. Whoopi's meltdown wasn't just emotional, it was historic. Karoline just did what no Republican has ever done, tore the liberal mask off live. No one's safe now. Not when Gen Z is this sharp, this poised, this armed with receipts. Hashtags dominated the trending list. Karoline versus Whoopi. Truth Bomb TV. Whoopi breaks down. Dark secret exposed. Hollywood hypocrisy. Mike still on. Back on ABC, the damage control had already begun. Mid-level producers debated whether to issue a statement. One executive demanded they clip Karoline's segment out of the re-airing. But it was too late. The internet had it all. Clips were being subtitled in Spanish, French, and Arabic. Meme pages edited Whoopi's face into reaction gifs, blinking, stunned, speechless. One particularly viral post placed Karoline's calm expression side by side with Oprah's "So what is the truth" meme. Even neutral anchors couldn't ignore the fallout. Over on CNN, Jake Tapper opened with, "Today on The View, something unprecedented happened. It wasn't a screaming match. It wasn't political theater. It was surgical." Meanwhile, The View's internal Slack leaked to Breitbart. Staffers were shaken. One wrote, "Why did we let her on?" Another replied, "Whoopi wasn't ready. This isn't the 90s anymore." But the real bomb dropped the next morning. Karoline Leavitt was invited back to Fox, but not for an interview, for a primetime guest hosting spot. She accepted. And that night, in a crisp red blazer, she stood on stage under the banner, "Truth over Celebrity." Her opening monologue, viral within the hour. "I didn't go on The View to pick a fight. I went to speak plainly. But if the truth lands like an attack, maybe it's because we've forgotten what accountability looks like." By day 2, Rolling Stone, Variety, and even People magazine had picked it up. Their headlines tried to soften the impact, calling the confrontation tense, emotionally complex, and an accidental viral moment. But no one was buying it. This wasn't accidental. This was a cultural flashpoint. Late-night hosts tried to play it down. Stephen Colbert joked, "Whoopi broke down, I break down watching C-SPAN." Jimmy Kimmel rolled a parody skit, but it didn't land. It felt weak, forced. The crowd's laughter was thin. The truth was Karoline had touched a nerve, a generational, ideological, cultural nerve. And then the clip hit YouTube's homepage. Fox's official upload, Karoline versus Whoopi, the moment Hollywood folds. Within 24 hours, 13.5 million views, 800K likes, 85,000 comments. Top comment: "She didn't shout, she didn't rant, she just spoke, and Whoopi collapsed." The meme economy exploded. Karoline's expression became the new calm face before chaos. Whoopi's blinking gif became the new "I just got exposed" reaction. T-shirts hit Etsy. It wasn't rape. My mic was on. Truth over celebrity. Karoline, calm, calculated, conservative. By day 4, even Democrat strategists were whispering behind closed doors. She just red-pilled an entire generation of young independents. She cracked the Hollywood armor. She's going to run for Congress and win. By day 5, the tremors had reached the highest levels of government. The White House press secretary was asked directly about the viral view showdown. She dodged the question with a tight smile. "We prefer to focus on policy, not personality clashes," she said. But the internet wasn't buying the sidestep. Commentators fired back instantly. Translation: "We have no comeback." Meanwhile, Whoopi Goldberg disappeared from public view. ABC issued a vague statement. Ms. Goldberg is taking personal time following a challenging week of on-air discourse. Inside sources told Page 6 she was absolutely shaken. One source said she thought Karoline was going to play ball. She didn't expect to be held accountable for old statements. She didn't expect the internet to turn. But the internet had done more than turn. It had crowned a new queen. Karoline Leavitt was everywhere. From Ben Shapiro to Candace Owens, Tim Pool to Tomi Lahren, everyone wanted her reaction, her perspective, her strategy. She wasn't just another political face anymore. She was a force, unapologetic, articulate, razor-sharp. Her clip had become a cultural litmus test. Did you cheer or did you flinch? Then came the moment that sealed it all. Karoline was invited to the CPAC main stage, not as a panelist, not as a guest. As the keynote speaker, she stood under a massive screen that read, "Truth over celebrity, why we're taking back the culture." And the speech she gave, legendary. "I didn't grow up thinking I'd ever be on TV," she said, pausing as the massive crowd hung on her every word. "I didn't plan on going viral. But when you step into the lion's den and the lion roars with lies, sometimes the only option is to speak louder, with truth." She paced the stage, no teleprompter in sight. They say don't go on shows like The View. They say don't challenge people like Whoopi Goldberg. But if we don't, we're surrendering every microphone, every stage, every narrative. The crowd was electric. Flags waved, signs lit up. Karoline 2028 banners were already being printed. Then she dropped the mic moment. "They said I shouldn't bring up her past. But if your past includes defending men like Roman Polanski and mocking rape victims, maybe the problem isn't the reminder. Maybe it's the record." Gasps, cheers, applause that lasted 30 seconds. And if I have to be the one who breaks the glass, then so be it. Just know this, the gloves are off, the truth is armed, and Hollywood's monopoly on morality is officially over. Standing ovation. Instant trend, gloves are off. Fox News, Chiron. Karoline declares cultural war and the people are listening. Later that week, Whoopi re-emerged. In an exclusive sit-down with Gayle King, she was visibly defensive. "I didn't mean what I said that way," she insisted. "And my mic wasn't even supposed to be on." But the damage was done. Karoline's team immediately tweeted a brutal clip from the original broadcast with the caption, "You said it, we heard it, America remembers." And under it, a single emoji, fire. The message was clear. No backtracking, no gaslighting, no escape. 2 weeks later, Karoline launched her nationwide speaking tour. No script, no filter, just truth. Every stop sold out. Venues from Dallas to Tampa to Milwaukee were packed to the rafters with young conservatives, Gen Z independents, and even moderates tired of celebrity double standards. They didn't just want policies, they wanted clarity. They didn't want plastic smiles, they wanted fire. And Karoline gave it to them. By week 4, a new political PAC was born. Future Truth Fund, its mission, to amplify young conservative voices silenced by media gatekeeping. And its first endorsement, a rising congressional candidate from New Hampshire. You guessed it, Karoline Leavitt. In the end, this wasn't just a viral moment. It was a movement. One confrontation, one mic left on, one woman standing firm, and the entire narrative shifted. Whoopi Goldberg had spent decades defining liberal stardom, until one night, live on national television, her mic caught more than a whisper. It caught history being rewritten. By a 27-year-old with nothing to lose and everything to say. The culture had been held hostage by celebrities for too long. But that night, Karoline Leavitt walked into their house and turned off the lights. She didn't just win, she warned them. Hollywood doesn't own the conversation anymore. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.